Thanks for tuning in to another edition of USF College Week, your source for news, sports, and the latest in what's happening around the USF community. I'm Erin Heinert.
And I'm Jake Iverson. Today on College Week, we'll tell you about a pro-life rally that occurred on campus, a student mission trip to Jamaica, and inform you about the USF Flying Club. But first, here's Erin with our top story.
The University of Sioux Falls played host to a forum last week with the theme of staging social change. Chrissy Jones, Senior Communications Studies Theater and Social Science major, organized the event, which informed participants about the effects of capital punishment. Junes recorded several guest speakers who have been directly involved with the death penalty, including Debbie Morris, who was a victim of a death row inmate. A stage reading of the play Dead Man Walking was also performed in Z Hall. A symposium led by Jones and Karen Sumner followed the play and concluded the week's events.
Last week, lawmakers from across the state met on campus in Z Hall to show support for a pro-life petition and to raise public awareness of the event. College Week's Ronnie Hawkins has more on the story.
USF students had many reasons for showing up to the pro-life petition informational meeting on campus last Monday, but no matter what the reason, they all got to hear speakers passionate about the issue.
To understand that abortion in our society has such a lasting impact, that even with eliminating it as birth control, it still has an impact.
Leah Anderson, a post-abortive woman, was the first to speak. Her 15-minute testimony had junior Travis Lape on the edge of his seat.
Very good speaker. Somebody that everybody should listen to. She experienced it. She's been in those shoes. And I hope that she continues sharing that with students and with young adults.
Dr. Alan Unruh, the keynote speaker, then took the stage to deliver his speech, which sophomore Mike Mary, who helped organize the event, said the speech was very motivational.
And he was able to come in, share a good historical background on the movement, what it means to South Dakotans, but more importantly in context to the greater movement throughout history and how that directly relates to this upcoming initiative.
Lape, who interned at the Capitol building this past legislative session, says the legislature didn't act on the issue because some felt it was still too early.
So I think this year they tried to stay away from it. There wasn't a lot of talk about it, but the way that the legislators do show that they're a pro-life supporter is by wearing a red flower on their name badge, and underneath it says life.
Mike Mary said that he received positive feedback from the people that attended, but the most important thing now is collecting signatures.
Right now the push needs to be signatures. I think the biggest thing we need are volunteers, people that are going to go out, going to get the word across to others and get people passionate about it. That's what's biggest needed right now, are people to go out and to spread the word. But it was a good time where we were able to get a good message across. People left knowing why they stood for, why the ballot initiative is so important.
For College Week, I'm Ronnie Hawkins.
If you would like to get involved or would like more information on the issue, contact Michael Mary through campus email.
Coming up after the break, we'll tell you about the USF Flying Club as well as a trip to a Jamaican orphanage. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. College classes always have a way of getting their students down, but one student-created club has found a way to elevate its members and soar to new heights. Nick Poppins has more on the story.
I'm on location here at the Sioux Falls Regional Airport, giving you an insider's look at the University of Sioux Falls' largest club on campus, the USF Flying Club.
With close to 60 members and no actual aviation program on campus, the Flying Club is quite the anomaly for many people. Flying Club President Jason Gibson explains the possible reasons for such success.
I think one of the aspects of being a larger club on the campus is that we have more members who are able to go out into the community and have a bigger impact in that regard.
With so many members and such high interest in the club, one might wonder how scheduled activities are carried out.
We don't have structured meetings a lot of times like most other clubs on campus have. How we operate in the Flying Club is we will advertise an activity such as going touring the National Guard F-16s or touring the Sanford Help helicopter. We advertise that through the email system.
Student body president Travis Lape thinks that the Flying Club may be onto something with their unconventional ways of doing things.
It's a unique way. It's a challenge, I guess, to send out emails and have everybody read them. But if they are reading them, I guess you can get your point across through those without wasting people's time of scheduling a meeting, getting only half of them there, and then trying to get the other message out to the other half. We're students. Our first priority is being a student. Our second one is being ourselves and being a part of different organizations. So I think the Flying Club has a great, maybe a great strategy of how to get their members active and going there.
Flying Club President Jason Gibson doesn't see any signs of their club slowing down anytime soon.
We're very focused in our objectives that we've set, and I think that's what makes our club so successful.
For USF College Week, I'm Nick Poppins.
Thanks, Nick. This past interim, a group of USF students traveled to Jamaica to volunteer at an orphanage. With more on the story, here's College Week's Ronnie Hawkins.
January has always been a popular time for USF students to travel. Typical destinations include Hawaii and Europe. However, a new trip was added this interim. A group of 6 students made their way to Jamaica to volunteer at an orphanage.
We just played with them all day on the porches, on the swing sets. We rocked them, we fed them, just loved on kids.
Sophomore Tina Spade, who went to Jamaica on a whim, says that 17 days spent on the island was a bit of a culture shock.
As we traveled further to the nest, there was just a lot of poverty, shanties, shacks made out of tin and scraps of wood. But then you just fell in love with the kids when we got there, and you just don't really feel like you're in that world anymore. It's really different.
After the successful interim trip, USF is planning to take a larger group over spring break, which sophomore Molly Logan says is an opportune time to go.
We're also doing a vacation Bible school with some of the kids around the neighborhood, so we'll be teaching them, different stories, so it's like a perfect time around Easter to go down there and help too.
There are many needs at the orphanage, and even students who can't make the trip themselves are finding ways to contribute.
If you see any of the boxes to donate for Jamaica, if you just, throw in like a ball or even like a toothbrush or just things that we take for granted, they don't have it down there, so just throw something in there, a few bucks or whatever.
For those that are even thinking about going, Spade encourages them to do so.
Jump at every opportunity you get to serve. It just opens your eyes and really changes your perspective on a lot of things, and it opened my eyes to see what I take for granted, and it's really helped me to grow, to just go and just have faith that God will provide the way, because He does.
For College Week, I'm Ronnie Hawkins.
The spring break group leaves on Thursday the 20th and will be gone for 7 days.
Sioux Falls isn't exactly known for its local music scene, but if you're in need for some entertainment, one local venue is striving to make its mark. Jen Halverson has more on the story.
Nutty's North has become the premier music venue in Sioux Falls. Jason Weiss, who has been in the music business for over 15 years and now works for Pepper Entertainment, explains what it's like to finally have a permanent venue.
It's been pretty good in the last year and a half. We've finally been able to consistently have a venue and consistently have a place to do shows, so people know where to go without having to check all the time. People feel comfortable the majority of the time, since there's kind of the repeat element to it.
With Pepper Entertainment booking shows weekly, the fan base has been growing steadily, and those that attend are impressed with the variety of events.
I like that there's a lot of different kinds of bands in town and stuff, a lot of different genres, and I like that Sioux Falls, it seems like a lot of the kids like to support the local bands and come out to the shows and everything. So I think it's just a really good thing altogether.
The Sioux Falls music scene has its fair share of local acts, but Pepper Entertainment brings a number of different genres to the table.
Big hip-hop shows are always pretty good. So, I mean, it's really diverse. It's not really any specific, type of music. But so we have a pretty solid fan base for pretty much any type of act. So.
Living in Sioux Falls is a very boring thing, and having a show once a week or going to a show a couple times a month really helps to pass like through like boredom stages, I guess, while living in Sioux Falls.
For USF College Week, I'm Jen Halverson.
Coming up on Crosstalk, College Week's Jen Halverson sits down with Travis Lape. Don't go away.
Hello and welcome to USF College Week's Crosstalk. I'm Jen Halverson and I'd like to welcome our guest Travis Lape. Travis,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Now, I understand that you have done an internship at the state capitol. Can you tell me a little bit about that program?
Yes. Well, I got involved with it by just seeing the flyer on campus. It was past the due date that the applications were supposed to be turned in, and so I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. I'll call them. I'll see what can happen. And so I did that. I got an interview all within a week span. I had my paperwork turned in, my 3 recommendations, and so it was a quick process. I got my application in. I got chosen as an alternate, and then somebody wasn't able to come, and so then I was able to take part and be an intern, and that started on January, I want to say 7th was my orientation, and then the 8th we started actually doing the intern work with the legislators.
Okay, so what was the application process like?
Well, it was, I had to first write basically a less than 500-word essay on what I thought South Dakota government was like and why did I want to be a part of it through this internship. And then I had to get 3 recommendations to send to them so that they could see basically what faculty and other people in the community thought of me and how well I could do at this position. So it was kind of an easy process, and then I had an interview which was over DDN, and that was a new experience, going through the internet and having that type of an interview because you're not right there with the interviewees. So it went really well. I thought the process was interesting. It was challenging at times because you'd have glitches and you wouldn't always be able to hear what the question was. But I thought overall the interview process was really good.
Good. Now, while you were at the state capitol, what kind of specific duties did you have to do?
Well, on a daily task, I was in charge of checking on all the bills that my legislators had. I was an intern for 5 different legislators, and so I had to track their bills. Some of them had 3, some of them had 5. It just kind of depended. And I would track them into the committee and make sure when it was up in committee that they were there to testify, and make sure that if they had constituents that were going to testify, make sure they were there and they found the room correctly. And so sometimes I would even have to go get them out of committee to get them to the other committee. And so that was kind of my job on a daily task, I guess you would say. And then I also would write commemorations and write press releases for the legislators to go back to their home papers at the end of the week.
Okay. Now, were there any special activities that you participated in?
Well, there were several activities at the end of the night. After sessions over, lobbyists and different organizations would sponsor free dinners and things like that. And so depending on the evening and depending on who was sponsoring it, the interns would kind of go as a group to these different functions, and we'd just stick around for a little bit. But there you really saw, sometimes true politics. You saw the lobbyists still working over the legislators on whatever bill they wanted to get through. And so it was an interesting process because, you think everything happens at the state capitol, but a lot of things happen off Capitol grounds as well to try to get a bill through for law or for other issues.
Now, I understand you also were part of the spring semester at USF. How did this internship affect your semester?
Right. Well, going into it, I had to approve through all my teachers and make sure that all my professors were okay with it. And I did that, and I have 5 different classes, and all professors were very willing to work with me. They said, this is a great opportunity, take it, and we'll catch you up when you get back. And so I was like, okay, no problem. And so I did a lot of things through internet, through email. Teachers would say, okay, you got a paper due in about 5 days. This is what you have to read, write a response to it. And so I did that, and I stayed pretty well up on my homework through that. My math class was online, and so that wasn't an issue as well either. The class that I kind of was scared in was my U.S. history class with Dr. Stagers. He didn't always email me on what was due, and so when I got back to campus, I was a little worried. But visiting with him, he worked with me. I caught myself up, and now going into spring break, I'm finally all caught up with the homework that I missed when I was gone, and so it feels good to be back and feels good to have all that caught up.
Good. And finally, would you recommend this internship program for other USF students?
Definitely. And to anybody that's interested in state government, not necessarily students that are in political science, history majors, but education majors, psychology majors, social work majors. Anybody that wants to take a part in state government should really look at this internship because it's a great opportunity to see South Dakota government in action. It's a great way to take part in what you've grown up in and maybe not grown up in. Maybe you're a student from Nebraska or Minnesota and you want to see what South Dakota government's like, and that it's just a great opportunity to see government really working for the people of South Dakota.
Good. Well, thank you, Travis, for joining us today.
Hey, thank you.
And thank you for viewing another USF College Week Crosstalk. I'm Jen Halverson, and stay tuned. Up next is sports.
It's now time for sports. Here's College Week sports reporter Jerry Coxwell.
How are things looking for sports, Jerry? Well, it's a pretty exciting time if you live in Winona, Minnesota or Orange City, Iowa. The Winona State Warriors defeated the Northern State Wolves 68-60 Tuesday night to win the NCAA Division II North Central Region Championship. With the victory, the Warriors move on to the quarterfinal round of the Elite Eight, where they will face Grand Valley State of Michigan. Tip-off for the scheduled game is scheduled for next Wednesday night, March 26th at 6 p.m. in Springfield, Massachusetts. Jonte Flowers led the way for the Warriors, scoring a game-high 33 points, while Kevin Rash and Levi Hamilton each scored 17 to lead the Wolves. It marks the third consecutive season the Warriors have advanced to the Elite Eight. The Warriors advanced to the national title game in 2007, losing a 77-75 heartbreaker to Barton College, spoiling a perfect 35-0 season. The Northwestern Red Raider women's basketball team clinched the NAIA Division II National Championship Tuesday night with an 82-75 victory over College of the Ozarks of Missouri in Sioux City, Iowa. It marks their second NAIA title as they defeated College of Idaho 77-50 in 2001. The Great Plains Athletic Conference has won 7 of the last 8 national championships, as Hastings won in 2002, 2003, and 2006, Morningside won in 2004 and 2005, and of course Northwestern in 2001 and 2007. The Raiders were led by sensational guard Deb Remerdy, who finished her stellar career with 41 points, including 8 straight in the second half to give them the lead for good. She was named the NAIA Division II Women's Player of the Year and Tournament MVP. Janessa DeMuth led the Bobcats with 23 points, who finished runner-up for the third consecutive year. Both teams finished the season with records of 35-2. And that's sports. Thanks, Jerry. Always a pleasure.
You're welcome.
All right, thanks, Jerry.
You bet.
Last week marked the second annual Campus Winter Olympics here at USF. Each dormitory, as well as a team comprised of staff and alumni, represented the competing nations. The games were kicked off Monday night with the opening ceremonies and the lighting of the torch in front of the crowd of fanatic Olympic supporters. The week saw 3-legged biathlon races, bobsled, figure skating, curling, and other various winter spectacles performed at their finest. Support for all the nations was astounding, as each dorm brought both athletes and fans to every event. When the snow had cleared, the team from the Ukraine, aka Sullivan Hall, took home 23 medals and overall gold. The games were put on by USF alum Alex Heinert and should see return again next March.
Well, that wraps up another edition of USF College Week. For Aaron Harnett, I'm Jake Iverson.
We'll leave you now with a bloopers reel featuring Jason Gibson from the Flying Club. Thanks for staying around, Sioux Falls.
Okay, I'm just gonna start. I think the main reason why
What are you saying?
that will also be open to non-members.
Say that phrase over.
Which phrase?
That will also be offered.
That. I like to say it that way. Can you ask me that question over again? Because I'd like to say that part. Or because okay, I gotta say this again without choking up. Because I gotta be careful how I say it. Because we wanted students to be able to, who were interested in advancing their aviation prowess to. I gotta start over. Instructional DVDs that they might otherwise be required to purchase if they were to that they were otherwise required to purchase. Oh crap! You know, we have invited Christian missionary pilots to come and speak to the entire campus. That happened a few years back, or a couple years back, or I forget. Or oh my gosh, I'm being talked to by a camera. We have okay. What's the question? We're mice and men. we are an organization that we like to do activities and have fun, and that's what we really try to keep asking the question. We're free flight instruction, learning supplies, 911 Mike November. Those guys are talking, dude. I can tell. Control tower, ground school. Control tower, ground school. Control tower, ground school. Geocaching, semester park control. Ground. Geo semester. We're. Camera looks crooked, dude.
It's not. It's straight.
We also have a. Oh, jeez, I gotta start.